What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm doing 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. I have listened to your guys' suggestions, and you guys want Dark Angel lore. I don't know why, because these guys are secretly traitors, so that's some heresy right there. Anyway, guys, I'm doing the Supreme Grandmaster, Azrael. Some would say he is the greatest Supreme Grandmaster of all the Dark Angels, maybe of all the Astartes. Let me know what you guys think, because I think Grimnar is way better than this guy. But anyway, let us dive into the lore of this supposed heretic chapter. Honestly, I don't like him. I never liked Dark Angels, except the Deathwing. That I could do. But I think they're gonna be the ones to turn traitor once we move on with the storyline of 40k. Anyway, guys, enough of my speculation. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are they secretly heretics? Are they going to be traitorous to the Emperor and Gilliman? Or are they the good guys? I mean, Cypher's an indication of, they're wishy-washy and the Unforgiven and whatnot. So anyway, here are 40 facts on Supreme Grandmaster Azrael. The Dark Angels forswear all past life and allegiances, forgetting the worlds of their birth, forsaking all kinship and former friendships to become the warriors of the chapter. Through long rituals and inculcation into the traditions and teachings of the Dark Angels, each takes on the mantle of a righteous soldier of the Emperor and remembers little of his origins. The same is true of Supreme Grandmaster Azrael. If he recalls anything of his childhood, he tells nothing. Yet in the vaults of the rock, there exist ancient records of recruitment, guarded by the chaplains and kept safe by vigil and lock. Here, even the beginnings of a lord of chapter is as great as Azrael can be found. Though the champions discourage idle rumor and gossip, tales do circulate amongst the battle brethren of the circumstance that brought their commander to the Dark Angels. Azrael's beginnings are a mystery, although rumors persist that he was inducted into the chapter from the tribes of wild headhunters who called themselves the icy Pharaoh world Chimeria home. But he shows none of his forebears' predictions, for all antisocial tendencies is what he has. Before reaching even 13 Terran years old, he was marked for greatness. The trophy stakes outside of the lodge of his family held 24 heads taken by the young fighter in raids and battles, and leadership of the clan was certain for him when he grew older. The Emperor's servants had other plans for the youth that would become Azrael, for Chimeria is a recruiting world of the Dark Angels, and on one of their visits to this planet, the chaplains were drawn to the boy. Along with a handful of other promising candidates, he was taken by the chapter, body and soul tested near the breaking point. Alone amongst those recruited at that time, he passed these tests, meaning that there were no others amongst the chapter who shared any deeper knowledge of his lowly origins. Whatever the truth of his background is, he forswore it, as do all new inductees into the Dark Angels. Once inducted as a novitiate into the 10th Company, the youthful Azrael performed above expectations. As his body was crafted into that of a noble warrior of the Adeptus Astartes, so too was his mind. It was not the physical deeds of the scout that drew attention, though they were as considerable as any Dark Angel, but his surety of purpose and dedication to the teachings of the chapter was astronomical. On Danis Secundus, Azrael was tested. Elements of the 10th, 6th, and 3rd Companies were fighting Eldar pirates that had been preying upon the people of Danis Secundus for decades. Against such swift-moving, elusive foes, the scouts were essential in locating the enemy. One night, 2 weeks into a frustrating campaign that had seen the Eldar avoid open battle, the scouts were lucky enough to locate an active warp gate, one that led to the alien ships hiding in orbit above. The sergeants were ready to communicate their discovery to the force commander when a small group of pirates emerged. Caught unaware, the Eldar were swiftly slain. It was Azrael that realized that the Eldar would soon miss their reconnaissance party and urged the sergeants to lead an attack back through the portal before it was closed. Swayed by the scouts' conviction and recognizing the logic of this plan, the sergeant succeeded to this request. Passing through the portal, the scouts found themselves aboard a pirate ship above the world. They wreaked havoc in the heart of the enemy starship, managing to disable its engines so that a Dark Eldar rapid strike vessel could bring it to battle. Before the ship was destroyed, the scouts were saved by a daring Thunderhawk extraction. On returning to the chapter, Azrael was awarded the first laurel of victory, one of only 6 individuals in 10,000 years to have earned such honor before becoming a full battle brother. By the time Azrael took his titled name and ascended to the ranks of battle brothers, it was thought that he would join the chaplaincy. Such was his knowledge of and aptitude for the lore of the Dark Angels. However, the course of his life was to take a different turn. There are many great deeds performed by every Space Marine, and Azrael was no exception, following his rise to the battle companies of the Dark Angels. Amongst warriors that will fight fearlessly and tirelessly for the cause, capable of feats that would make them heroes amongst the ranks of normal men, it takes a particular kind of Space Marine to earn even higher respect and recognition. For Azrael, this turning point came during the scouring of Truan 6. On a night-shrouded world on the edge of the Truan system, the Third Company responded to the disappearance of an Adeptus Mechanicus outpost. At first they encountered no foe amongst the abandoned habdomes and mine workings, and they discovered no signs of what had happened to more than 500 tech priests and colonists. There were no corpses, and no evidence of battle. The Third Company ventured into the depths. There, in caverns deep beneath the surface, they discovered the remnants of the inhabitants, their decaying remains scattered where they had fallen. Tech adepts and miners locked together in mortal combat with themselves and each other. What had driven them to fall upon each other like wild animals, made itself known to the Space Marines, soon undercame a powerful psychic attack. From the heart of the world, a corrupting siren song permeated the minds of the Dark Angels, demanding obedience and sacrifice, filling the warriors with rampant paranoia. Their souls hardened to such intrusion. The Space Marines did not fall immediately under the spell as had the weak-minded colonists, but the assault was not without consequence. Discipline was failing, and arguments between the battle brothers sparked confrontations and sporadic bouts of violence as the company continued to explore. Their commander, Master Bathius, led his squad at the front, delving ahead into the ancient tunnels, the mines that had unearthed, leaving behind the rest of his command. 12 hours later, all contact was lost. After 2 days, during which the rest of the company came to the verge of open rebellion and fighting, Azrael disobeyed Bathius' last command to evacuate if he did not return, instead gathering about himself such sergeants and battle brothers as seemed least affected by the psychic power. They followed Bathius into the catacombs. Here they found the corpses of the command squad, broken and battered by chainsword and bolt shell. Coming under the scrutiny of the foul creature that resided in the depths, Azrael's command suffered at full force of the psychic assault. Pushing through the waves of demented paranoia that assailed him, Azrael left his companions behind and continued on alone, chanting hymnals and battle prayers to harden his resolve. In a temple-like chamber, he came across the Siren Beast, a bloated warp entity trapped half in real universe and half in the immaterial. Holding true to his faith in the Lion and the Emperor, determined that his loyalty was no other, Azrael confronted the warp creature. While it lashed at the Space Marine with ethereal tentacles, every touch from writhing appendages sending burning psychic pain through him for his disobedience, Azrael slashed and blasted at the creature's material form. Yet no matter how many cuts he made with his combat blade, or how deep the wounds were gouged by his bolter, the warp spawn could not be slain. Fighting through the agony of real wounds and psychic assaults, Azrael realized that the creature's warp self had to be banished. With a handful of meltabombs taken from the corpses of the command squad, Azrael fought his way to one side of the ancient temple, all the way to the other, withstanding the tormenting lashes while he placed the explosives. There was no way to escape the temple and still detonate the charges, so Azrael resigned himself to his death, and he brought the temple down upon himself and the foe. With the warding stones destroyed, the monster was wrenched back into the warp with a last howl of rage, leaving Azrael alone inside his self-made tomb. Azrael believed his sacrifice to be mortal, but after 3 days, the survivors of the company dug him free. Returning to the Tower of Angels, the warriors of the Third Company demanded, with due respect and humility, that Azrael be recognized for his efforts. In honor of his mental resolve, he was directly inducted into the Deathwing Knights of the First Company. And this is where I will leave off the lore on Azrael. Pretty badass. He's doing all this as a freaking scout. Let me know what you guys think about him. Do you think he deserves the title of Chapter Master already, or does he still need to earn it? If you guys want to know what happens next, head on over to the Lexicanum or the wiki page. I will be continuing this in a part 2 since you guys seem to love Azrael so much. So wait for tomorrow where I will finish his lore. But for now, guys, let me know what other Chapter Master or what other Space Marine chapter you guys want me to cover. Or maybe you're tired of all this Imperial stuff and want me to do some more Xenos. Also, don't forget to hit us up on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more things 40k related. And as always, guys, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.